Hey, what's going on, everybody? And thanks for joining us again. We're live, and we've got a fun one lined up for you. So, ladies and gentlemen, thinkers and overthinkers, welcome back to the Rethink Tank Live, where we don't just ask the hard questions, we ask the questions nobody else had the nerve, the time, or emotional stamina to Google. Tonight's lineup is a roller coaster you did not sign the waiver form. First up, Reborn Roleplay and Education, the newest trend where grown adults bring hyper-realistic baby dolls to Disney World. They say it's therapeutic, but something tells me the cure might actually be the illness. If Snow White starts offering group counseling, we'll let you know. Then we've got the last penny ever minted. Yes, the final U.S. penny has officially been born and retired at the same time. We'll talk about who gets it, what it means, and whether this is the government's subtle way of saying, look, guys, we're broke. And finally, we close the America's financial facepalm of the week. The most profitable company in the nation is now OnlyFans. Meanwhile, Trump says we need more H-1B visas because we have no talent. So apparently, our biggest economic engine is feet pics, and the former president thinks the solution is importing Pakistani doctors. Strap in. Tonight's show is wild, weird, and slightly concerning, which is exactly why this country needs a good rethink, or at least a very strong cup of coffee. So let's get right into it. For those of you that may be frequent flyers, a thing that we like to do when we have an update on a past topic, we got to go back and bring you to the know. So in a past episode, I think it was about a month and a half ago or so, we were reporting big revolutions with the One Piece flag that was happening across the globe. And we have some new updates. All right, gang. You might remember when we talked about how One Piece became a symbol of protest across the globe. Well, that spirit of rebellion has officially landed in Mexico. Except this time, it's not just a flag. It's a full-on youth-led uprising. Thousands of young Mexicans, self-styled as Generation Z, they're taking to the streets in city after city, demanding an end to cartel violence, corruption, and impunity. The trigger? The shocking assassination of Uruapan Mayor Carlos Manzo, a politician who openly challenged organized crime, especially cartel influence. During a Day of the Dead celebration, he was killed, and now his death is the spark propelling an entire movement. In Mexico City, protesters carrying pirate skull banners, yes, One Piece flags, tore down parts of the barrier around the National Palace, clashing with riot police and triggering a chaotic showdown. The numbers of injured are steep. According to local officials, about 100 police officers were hurt, 40 hospitalized, and a dozen civilians were also injured. These aren't just angry tweets turned into protests. There's a deeper generational frustration at work. Many of the marchers are fed up with what seems as this government failure to take real action against drug cartels. Some accuse President Claudia Sheinbaum and her party Morena of being complicit or at least apathetic when it comes to tackling narco violence, considering her shady history. Based on comprehensive reports from monitoring organizations, think tanks, and media, at least 30 to 37 politicians, candidates, aspirants, or officials were assassinated during the entire electoral process leading up to her victory. However, narrowing to a formal campaign period, March 1st to May 29th of 2024, the number of confirmed assassinations of candidates and aspirants is approximately 20 to 25, with violence escalating sharply in the final months. This made 2024 Mexico's bloodiest election in modern history, surpassing 2018 with 24 candidate killings and 2021 with 36. Standing up against the protests, President Sheinbaum has pushed back hard. She's called the protests partially orchestrated by right-wing opponents, even claiming bots and disinformation helped fuel the movement. She also announced a motion Macachin Plan for Peace and Justice, deploying National Guards and reforming the local protesters' office to try to tame violence. Here's where things get really interesting. This isn't just a protest. Some are calling it a Generation Z revolution, the fourth in a series this year after similar uprisings in Indonesia, the Philippines, and Nepal. The youth-led revolt isn't just Latin American trend anymore. It's becoming global. And the stakes feel existential. These teenagers and 20-somethings are demanding a full separation from cartel control. They're not just chanting for reform, they're calling for radical change, even saying they're willing to die for it. Still, whether or not every allegation is proven, what's real is the frustration. Young people are saying we've grown up under cartel terror and we're tired of watching the government play both sides. This isn't just a protest, it's a generational reckoning, a new hope. So, yes, we're in a new era of rebellion, not just in Mexico, but across the world. And for a moment, it looks like the youth aren't just following in footsteps of past movements, they're writing their own. And Luffy and his pirate gang are becoming the face of it. So I guess it is true. The One Piece really is the friends you make along the way.
Okay, you win. You win for that. That was great. Can we just acknowledge that the president of Mexico's last name is Scheinbaum?
Latin.
Just
sounds like you make tacos.
I still don't quite grasp the Jolly Roger flag being the symbol of revolution. But keep it going because it's just more people watching.
And it's working.
More people watching One Piece.
Yeah.
We literally, this show, literally a year ago, he didn't even know who Luffy was. And now he's like, Luffy is leading the cause.
That's it. Just like V for Vendetta.
Yeah.
He's becoming my guy.
Yeah. Yeah. It is crazy, though, like the generational gap. Because, again, it is a generational thing. Like 20 years ago, it would have been the Guy Fawkes flag. Would have been like V for Vendetta. And it is, I don't know. There's something funny there. I don't know. Where it's like that scene from It's Always Sunny when Charlie's at the board, like, you know, kind of like tying the loose ends together to where how Guy Fawkes and Luffy are in the same vein. Because I don't see it at all, but I'm fine with it. I'm like, go for it. Go do it. Go do it. Jolly Roger everywhere. Jolly Roger, it's going to show up in this country at some point.
It's already here. We're just not reporting it.
In a very legitimate way. Like,
oh, yeah.
I view the protests that are going on in this country. It's just like, all right, I get it. The tweeters went out and they rioted just to go back home, just to start tweeting again. Whereas, like, I view, like you said, like, this is like a legitimate protest. This is like genuine distrust.
And now we're at country 4.
Upset. Yeah. And, you know, and it's like the bloodiest, it makes ours look very, very democratic.
How many people died? None.
Very democratic.
None.
We got close.
We called one candidate the what's the Zodiac killer. That's as close as we got. We didn't actually cause bodily harm to anybody.
The way we bend the rules to make the words is great. I am enjoying it so
Real
much.
quick, before we depart from the subject totally, I do want to acknowledge that there's first, okay, it's growing across the nation. It's a Generation Z revolution with Luffy taking down the wall, but everybody's getting in on it now in Mexico. This was broadcast on Mexican cable television calling for the Don.
Pedimos al gobierno de Estados Unidos, listen, Trump, listen, see? Come and help us, and please come and get the shit out of Mexico. Come and get Obrador, come and get Claudia fucking Sheinbaum.
Gracias, muchas gracias, gracias.
Gracias.
Dude, you want to know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of that video you sent me years ago. I think it was during his first election when the Chinese guy. He's like, Donald Trump, don't trust China, asshole. And you're just like, oh my God. Like,
he is the world's Luffy. And we hate him, but to the rest of the world, he's this martyr for freedom and rebellion.
I would pay so much money for Oda to draw a Luffy chapter where he's in the same room as Donald Trump, just to see how that would go.
Not well.
But it is funny. It's like you have those protesters down there. It's like, again, very much a cartel influence in their government. They're essentially controlling their government at this point, like be like the mafioso, like controlling the U.S. government. You could argue that it's happening, but like definitely there, it's like on the outskirts. But then like you come up to like America and like the protests are just like basically a bunch of like people like with Twitter fingers saying like I hate my stupid Chungus life and like going out there and like doing like these ridiculous like sham protests that are like completely funded by these organizations. Like big corporations are funding it, just having it like put their words out there. Whereas like in Mexico, it's like genuine anger with like the way their countries, and again, like you said, like it surpassed the bloodiest election, right? And like the most recent ones are like literally the last 2 elections. So like it's only getting bloodier.
Right.
It's not like it's getting nicer or more democratic. It's like, God, what are the next?
We're not going down a healthier
Can you
path.
see, before we get off this, let me just pose this
yeah.
question though. Since it is getting bloodier new election, could you see it moving to like a dictatorship in Mexico?
Well, I'm sure it eventually, like just like any government salivates at the chaos created in an uprising, it calls for the need for further governmental intervention. So then that's where you get your police and military state.
Because I don't know particularly too much how their governments run, so I don't know if it's like, oh, they're just there for a term or 2 terms or something like that.
Okay, I don't want to talk about these types of things because that's what gets us in trouble.
Sure,
but there's a little
do.
country chosen by God.
Yes.
And they were able to just totally throw away their constitution, and their prime minister is just illegally still legally. I'm not saying anything to YouTube, forgive me. But he totally just was like, Constitution, I'm still boss. I'm still boss, baby.
And that's the thing. It's like, I don't know like what the Mexican Constitution is, so I don't know.
Well, no, but what I guess the point I'm trying to get at is, does it matter?
No.
At the point do you care what this said the second I go like this? It could have had 3 more lines on it than the next country. It's still in 2 pieces.
And what I will give our country credit for is we haven't done that yet.
We get pretty close.
I mean, we
literally reported on the ICE situation. It's like,
it's like,
I don't like that the first group made the border a sieve. That doesn't mean we throw away the Constitution in response. Okay, before we even start closing out the topic, I need to do Ms. Scheinbaum justice, because that's what we're here for. We got to rethink all angles of this bad boy. And for the people that are listening to this, after the live show, this goes on Spotify, and you could in Apple Podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. It's across the thing. We have a huge following in Serbia. Crazy. Anyway, for the people that are listening to this, I'm sorry. I'm not going to go to the efforts of translating this. Phone in a friend. But for the folks that are watching, there are subtitles. I want to let Ms. Scheinbaum do her own defense of why. Again, maybe you missed this in my very long monologue as I was presenting this. She's coming to the defense of closing or policing the cartels, and the act of policing them, she claims, is terrorism. Read along, or if you speak of this, listen.
Guerra contra el narco no es opción. No es opción. Primero, porque está fuera del marco de la ley. Todos estos de la derecha que se llenan la boca de las palabras Estado de Derecho y defienden la guerra contra el narco. Pues la guerra contra el narco está fuera de la ley, porque como lo dije o lo he dicho en varias ocasiones, es permiso para matar, sin ningún juicio. Y eso en México nadie o muy poquitos están de acuerdo. Está fuera del marco de la ley. Y segundo, no sirvió de nada más que para aumentar los homicidios en México y el nivel de violencia. Entonces, estos llamados autoritarios, porque son autoritarios, es ir hacia el fascismo.
She said the word. I just imagine while she's saying this, like, kind of hypocritical thing, immediately outside the building is a bunch of Lufis.
At the same time, saying is soft and sweet does not make it any less cruel.
It's, you know what, good for her.
Good for her.
Yeah.
Now, as just a passing comment, as we move on to our first topic of the day, news that we really can't report, but is worth acknowledging. What happened in this past week? Well, this scene from The Shining, oh, Billy, has a whole new meaning. Context changed.
Good for you. That was a good one. I was not.
Billy. Oh, Billy.
That was
Oh, Billy.
I didn't think The Shining would sneak into this episode.
Well, let's just say who's the director?
Kubrick.
Yeah. Kubrick has been telling us the reality of our situation since day one. In the movie, he's got all these hints to like the moon landing. Bro, literally is like the greatest film I ever did was a moon landing that you all watched.
Yep. No.
And then he created Eyes Wide Shut. And then Warner Brothers brings him in and they're like, you're going to cut out this scene. And he's like, I'm not cutting anything out. And then he was murdered or died. And the movie was chopped up and you got exactly what they wanted to give you. Now, getting into our first topic of the day. Nope.
That's great.
Oof. All right.
I don't like this.
Let's talk about the newest cult storming Disney World. I'm talking about the new trend of reborn roleplay and education, where creators are bringing hyper-realistic baby dolls to Disney parks, dressing them up, strapping them into strollers, and treating them like actual infants. Now, the story they give us is following a miscarriage. This is therapeutic. This helps us with grief. This helps us with loss. And listen, miscarriage and infant loss is one of the heaviest forms of human grief. Nobody here is mocking that. Nobody here is minimizing that. But at the same time, the honest truth doesn't get softer just because the topic is delicate. Psychology, not me, not the internet, psychology has a lot to say about this. Here's the reality. Coping mechanisms work when they help you re-enter real life. But when a coping mechanism becomes a replacement for real life, that's when it moves from healing to hiding. Many psychologists warn that hyper-realistic dolls can reinforce avoidance behavior, meaning instead of processing grief, you start creating a bubble where you never have to confront it at all. It's like tricking the brain into thinking the loss didn't happen, which might feel good today, but it stunts the long-term recovery. And then you take that bubble to Disney World, the most overstimulating place on earth. And suddenly you've got people getting emotional support from a silicone infant while Goofy is tap dancing behind them. That's not therapy. That's escapism on steroids. And I'm not knocking escapism, but escapism pretending to be healing, that's a recipe for further heartbreak. But here's the catch. None of this comes from a place of cruelty. We want to have empathy. We should have empathy. Losing a child is pain no one can measure. But empathy doesn't mean lying about what helps or what harms. And the facts, unfortunately, brutally, don't care if they hurt your feelings. And if a trend actually helps people recover, I'm all for it. But if a trend keeps someone frozen in the very trauma they're trying to escape, then maybe the therapy label is just a shield for content creation. Because let's be honest, some of these accounts aren't about healing. They're about monetizing grief. They're about clicks, reactions, emotional bait. So the question becomes, are we watching people cope, or are people watching people cope badly while an audience rewards it?
You're doing so good.
No shame, no. One of these days, I'm going to make Will do this just so he can see.
I know.
No shame, no cruelty, just the uncomfortable truth. Therapy is supposed to free you, not chain you to silicone stand-ins for the life you lost. And sometimes the hardest part of healing is realizing that comfort and recovery aren't the same thing. I need you guys to see the videos for us to truly evaluate this for what it is. So, not to make light of these situations, but here I'm scrolling, and this is I have her name there, Leah Shies, I don't know. Anyway, this is what I scroll upon on TikTok. Let's go back to the beginning of the first slide. People's reactions to my doll at Disney. I read that, I'm like, okay, here we go. Curious kid asks why I bring a doll to Disney. Curious everybody.
Yeah.
We're all wondering, honey.
Is that real?
It also doesn't help. Okay. The people that are doing this en masse look exactly how you think they do.
Yeah, I know.
That doesn't help this either.
doll collector.
Yeah, dude. Check out my playlist and I'll tell you all about it.
See that?
We told him it's a doll. He thought she looked super real. This is funny. When someone else realizes she's a doll and calls me out on it, LOL. Hey, I see what's going on. Ha ha ha. And then runs. I'm getting a pretzel, dude. Literally runs over. Dad, she's literally pushing around a doll in a stroller.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like,
Come on.
Come on, what are we doing?
All right, let's get the explanation because you're an uncultured swine,
Yeah, I just don't get
and
it.
clearly you need to be grounded and get it. So here,
all
honey,
for
teach
answering
me.
questions about why I bring a fake baby to Disney World. So let's dive into it. Hi, my name is Lishi, and this is my husband Steve, and we bring our reborn doll with us to Disney. My first question is, how do we get through security with a doll? It is very simple. We tell them it's a doll, we take her out of the stroller, and we go through the metal
You got to
detector.
plan through getting.
Ask-
They got to plan through getting through security.
But did they buy a ticket for that?
No,
Okay.
it's just like my shoe.
No, I get that. I wouldn't want to pay a ticket.
I didn't have to pay a ticket for
Yeah,
my hat. What is the difference? They talk back to me the same.
As content creators with Reborn
Well, at
Dolls,
least the kid's
we
not
are
gonna make a
very
scene.
responsible in the parks, and we'll explain more about it in the video. If we don't answer your question, please see our playlist for more information. Our next question is, do we take our dolls on rides? The answer is yes. We only take our doll on baby-approved
Please tell me the
attractions.
kid's on the
Anything
ride.
with a height requirement, we respect the
Come
rules,
on.
and we do not take the doll on the ride. If there is a ride that we want to do, we speak to
Don't take the
management
camera
and
off
we
me.
tell them that she is a doll. We place a blanket on her and put her in a very secure location, and we notify cast members immediately of our situation.
Oh God,
Please keep an
I
eye
do
on
feel
the
bad for them in a
captions as
way,
we
but like,
provide
my
more
God,
information throughout this
Well,
video.
that's
Pause if
okay.
you know, it's like
That's the real takeaway here. Yeah, of course, I have so much empathy for their situation, what they're trying to grieve with. But, you know, the real question is, at what point does therapy become avoidance? And who's responsible for drawing that line? Is it the individual? No, because they clearly don't have the ability to do that. Is it the psychologist? No, because they're all idiot
they
liberals
have
too.
no idea.
Or the platform's profiting off of it? TikTok's like, what? Look what I got for you.
Oh yeah, the algorithm
this
knew.
up.
The algorithm knew what you needed to see. It knew. Oh
So, amongst other
God,
things,
and the actor, not to cut you off, but the actors
Has
gotta
to
act
play
like a
along.
star. Yeah.
oh my God, how pretty.
Please tell me they gave it a name.
Oh, yeah. It does have a name. It does. I can't remember what. Doesn't matter for the sake of this
Well,
discussion.
just ask. It'll tell you.
Doug's not on it. He missed it.
I just like I have such a thing. The Disney adult thing is like its whole thing, and like they just add more lore. Like, this is like, you know what I mean? Like I already have such a very strong opinion. I'm being very demure and mindful about this, and not go like If camera wasn't on me, I'd rip these people apart. I would rip right into them.
Yeah,
Like, I'm sorry.
if we were in a room hanging out with a piece of pizza, it'd be a totally different
boy,
dialogue.
dude, like this would be like Friday night movies.
Well, so, truly addressing the question, at what point does therapy become avoidance? Who gets to draw that line? It isn't the individual. It isn't a psychologist. I'm not leaving it to the experts. I'm not Douglas Murray. Pound stones. But I do think we leave it to the society. I think as a collective, if I'm outvoted, if the majority of us would rather walk around with silicone dolls, this ain't my people.
Yeah,
These aren't my people.
like, is this like a big thing, or is this just like
It's a big thing. I mean, it's a big thing. It's a big thing. Little doll.
You're not
big thing.
You're not helping me be very mindful and demure about this. I just like if you're someone in their circle, right? Like you're like, I love you. If you and your future spouse did something like this, I wouldn't say it to your spouse, but I'd pull you aside and be like, what's going on here? What's going on?
She scratches
very
it.
respectful
I'd
of
look
your
you
wife.
deadpan in the face and go, she scratches an itch you can't reach.
She's loaded. You know, like, because And like, here's the thing though. Here's one thing I've learned about Disney adults. They're not loaded because they spend all their money at Disney, not on their kids, by the way.
Because they don't have them.
Do you think they bought the kid something? The doll something, sorry.
Oh, I'm sure. Get her the ears. She's got to have Mickey ears.
God, you've been testing me these recent weeks with these topics, man.
All right. Is this a coping mechanism, or is Disney becoming the world's most expensive emotional crutch?
Yes, they're remaking Moana in like live action. So yes, it is.
And let's hit that then. That's news right now too. Let's be real. Moana's being remade expeditiously. Like they're
that movie's
pushing
less
this
than a decade old.
Yes. And they're like, get it out. Why? Most viewed movie they have on their streaming platform. And they're like,
Really?
get it out. With The Rock, I learned that recently. This is the hidden story. This is being pushed faster than ever for money. That's it. And can you blame them? It works.
Didn't The Rock voice a character in the
Yes,
original?
and
I didn't see Moana.
The Rock is the voice of the main,
Individual he's playing.
Yeah.
The main character he's playing, the big guy. I'm assuming he's
Big
huge.
guy.
I'm assuming he's huge.
big guy. And now he's doing it in live action.
Okay. Disney, there's something there that like I'm at the point now, like my family, my family, like Disney was not in my repertoire as a child. Like I was not going to Disneyland. At 31, I'm so glad that wasn't a thing for me because like my kids are not going. I don't care what they say. I don't care. I'm not taking my kids to Disneyland. I don't need to see this. I don't need you to see it. I don't want to indoctrinate my kids somehow. Like one time I take my kid at 5 thinking like, I never got to go. They could see it once. And then they get indoctrinated. And then I find out, I guess I'm going again next year. And now I'm part of the crew.
Well, you gotta keep a balance with it. Like as someone that went as into Utes,
I went a lot.
My
That makes sense.
parents. So, okay, timeline.
Okay.
Probably like around 12 or 13, I go to Universal and it's like, well, we're never going back there.
Right.
That's for babies. And I'm not a baby.
No,
I'm
you're
a big
guy.
boy.
You're a big kid
I'm
now.
going to go on the Spider-Man ride and be a big boy.
Big man. Now owned all by Disney, but big man. At the time, it wasn't.
Right. Well, and they have Jurassic Park.
And the Mummy.
Well,
ride's
that wasn't
cool.
there yet at the time.
Oh, all right.
I had to leave 8th grade to go on vacation to see the opening of that ride because big boy, I'm a big boy.
I'm an
an
man.
adult.
I'm going to the opening of the Mummy ride. Oh my God, it's Brendan Fraser.
So probably like around 12, we stopped going. But like Doug, we would go often to the different Disney parks when we were young. And maybe we went one time because it was the first time in a long time, maybe around 2014, 15. And my parents got emotional because the last time they walked in that park, my sister and I were babies.
Sure. Yes.
And what they got out of that park was nothing for themselves as far as enjoying Goofy and the rides.
Right.
That was so much for them, but it was living this park through us.
Yes.
And what I got, like, I could see, I want to go, I will probably never go to Disney again until I have kids. And then you need to catch them. Don't go and spend $10,000 when they're 2. They're not going to remember that. But like right around 5, when they could really get this, live that park through them. And it's Chuck E. Cheese. You're living in a world where my kid will either naturally outgrow Chuck E. Cheese or I'll make his ass. And that's going to be the relationship with Disney is I'm going to live it one last time through you. You're going to have fun. But if you don't go, I'm ready for the Jurassic Park ride now. I'm done with Disney. I'm going to yank your ass off the Dancing Cup ride. And you're going on the... See how this works?
And that's the thing. Like adults, like not adults, parents, I'm being very strict with that difference right there. Them taking their kids for their kids to experience that totally 100%. That's what it's there for. And that's what it should be there for. It's like situations like this.
Yeah, it's situations like my big, who is older than me and cosplays as Captain Hook and is friends with the actors there.
Oh my God, dude.
That's a symptom of not having a present male figure enough.
Yeah, I dated a girl once, man. And she would go to Disney all the time, and I was like, she'd come back from vacation to Disney, and she'd show me the photos of like, she's like, oh my god, look, it's Mickey, and I'm like, oh yeah, like I wonder what it's like for that kid in the cottage. She's like, no, that's actually Mickey, and I was like, well, that's concerning. That's a concerning comment. I'm going to look past that because back then I looked past red flags because I was dumber than I am now. But like that should have been a red flag right there. It's just like one of those like, man, like again, you worded it perfectly. At some point, I'm going to force you on the Hulk ride.
Yeah, exactly.
Off of Detox, you know, like you, and it's just, but like this with the silicone doll, I wouldn't even know where to start.
Well, yeah,
I wouldn't know
let's
where to
ground
go.
ourselves in that. So I wanted to, if I had enough time, I would have coaxed my mom into doing a clip for us. But my mom had me, then 2 miscarriages, and then my sister.
Mhm.
So I go and ask my mom, what is your opinion of this type of situation? And she gives me the story of like, well, it does benefit her situation that she had me. Then she has 2 miscarriages. So she still has family. Like, not to say these people don't have family, they have their partner, but like you don't have the loss. I could see not being as weighted. However, still, holy cow,
yeah,
you're carrying a child. You have to pass this child. It's a whole thing. But my mom gives me the story in comparison to her cousin, who it was her first child, was a miscarriage, and it was detrimental. So I respect the impact, but the difficult, delicate conversation that we avoid confronting is having to confront that so you can heal. Because if my mom got stalled by the first miscarriage and then the second miscarriage, I don't have my sister. And, you know, that's my partner in crime. If your mom didn't heal as a human brain does, we don't have you. Right? Like,
Yeah,
so, yeah. So it's one of those, like, I have empathy for the gravity of their situation, but you are truly crippling healing, recovery, and you're also enabling. It's one of those like, well, I can't run a mile. Oh, well, then we'll just let you run 100 meters. It's like, well, then don't ever expect them to run a mile.
Right.
Like, because it doesn't make it any more easy or more comfortable.
And here's the thing, too, going off your point, it's these, again, it's an issue I've had with Disney adults is like there's a mental illness thing there that I don't know how to verbalize, particularly. We've all seen the videos. People watching this, you've seen the videos. They'll see the castle. They'll start breaking down, crying. These people carrying the silicone dolls are the people that see the castle and start crying. And it's just like, oh, man, I don't think these are already people good at coping with things before having to deal with a very, very serious human grief to cope with.
Right.
On top of that. And it's like.
So let me ask you, if someone is coping publicly in a way that might be unhealthy, does the audience have a responsibility to intervene, or is that just none of our business?
None of our business. And here's the reason why I say it's none of our business. There's something in most people that want to step up and say it. For instance, I'll use the example of if you and your future spouse were in a situation like this. I don't feel like I would have any room to really say it to your wife.
Right.
I would say it to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get what you mean.
I don't think I could say this to a random individual like on the street. Like, who am I to?
How about this? Okay, so this, I agree.
I
I totally agree where you're going with this, and this was going to be the only part that I disagreed with is we don't, this is your life, lady. I have no right jumping out at you and going, like, policing your life. What I think you're doing is wrong, and this is how you should do it. None of my business. But I think on the inverse of that consideration, there is dialogue to be had about the people that feed this.
Oh,
like,
I agree with
how
that,
many of
that
you,
part, yeah.
okay, I think a portion of her audience, let's say 30%, is also similar situated people. Like, I had a miscarriage and, ooh, this interests me. Or, ooh, I had one and I got over it, but I recognize this. Or I am coping in the same way. I'm therapeutically using a realistic baby doll. I think that's part of her audience. But I think same amount, if not a greater amount, are people laugh watching.
Yes.
We are watching at your expense. And so where I don't find it's my responsibility to go to your comments and intervene and police how you should live your life, at the same time, people need to recognize illness, dangerous habits, problematic lifestyles, and you're feeding it. So more than anything, the people that I would outwardly call out are the audience, the people feeding this. Anybody that's peddling this type of content, lifestyle, and again, I'm not attacking her personally, but the Disney cult that's now saying this is a new way of living, I'll address you generally speaking, and here are my thoughts.
Yeah, I won't say it's easier, but it's more beneficial to talk to it at like a vague perspective rather than attack an individual for it. Because it's like, I don't know this individual. I don't know the situation. I don't want to go up to her and say, hey, what are you doing? And she looks at me and says, who are you to tell me how to parent my child? And it's dull. And I have to sit there awkwardly going like, well, how do I respond to that one? You know what I mean? Like, you saying like, go have a dialogue with the audience, much more beneficial in my opinion.
Right.
Because then it starts a dialogue amongst themselves being like, hey, maybe there are other ways of coping and grief that are healthier that we could kind of go to.
Well, and admittedly, as you're saying that, of course I'm in full agreement, but it goes, well, how do you find them? Like, how do you get to engage with that audience? And it's kind of one of those, what we're doing here. We set up our Crowder table. Here are my thoughts. Hopefully this gets the attention of folks in the community or fans of the community or people that peddle that type or, fuel that type of content. And I hope we get your attention and you join in on the conversation and the dialogue. Again, the whole purpose of the live show, because how else do I don't want to engage with her. Here's something I learned. Okay. Some mom, side story, totally side subject. I'm going to bring back in. Some mom is trying to make some grandma is trying to make some cash on TikTok, peddling TikTok shop goods. She finds a pacifier that has teething bumps on it. And it's looking plastic as hell. And I make some sort of comment like, wow, this is our world anymore. We are starting, like, we already got our balls full of plastic. This is not my comment, but it was the spirit of my comment. And we've already got our balls full of plastic, and we are now giving our babies plastic in their mouth like the second they're entering this earth.
Yeah.
She took offense to that. Shocker.
I can't believe it.
She came at me and was like, well, what do you suggest? Or no, she goes, this isn't silicone, it's latex. And I'm like, still a polymer, and it's just carbon-based versus oxygen-based. And she
You're
was
a
like,
better man than me, because since she said latex, I'm like, oh, cool, good. Yeah, keep it going.
so she says another thing like, well, what do you expect? Boogity-boogity-boo. And I'm like, listen, I'm not saying I have the answers to our problems. I'm just saying we could probably start acknowledging some of our problems, which is plastic in our mouths from the moment we start. She says some other thing like, yeah, whatever, good point, blah, 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 blah. Then it provokes me. I go, we haven't been whipping up plastic in labs for all of human existence, and we've had teeth. So how did we deal with teething babies in the past? Very surface level. Like I didn't go deep. First thing I find is the Victorian era, and they would take silver bobbies and put coral in them, and you could chew on it. And the silver bobby was like a rattle, so it doubled as a rattle, and they would chew on coral. I made that comment. I go, listen, I learned this thing. Not saying it's the answer, but I am saying maybe it's time for humans to get creative again, because there's other ways of doing this. She goes, wow, good point. Fun exchange, whatever. I walked away like, good exchange.
Oh, God.
The entire world has been haunting me now for 2 months.
Oh, they're so
If you were to see like the conversation, how it started, back and forth, and everybody loved it. We had comments. This is a good exchange. It was so much healthier than I'm projecting it. It was a great, you learned, I learned, high five, let's move on. But that's not how women work. So the second this broad started getting people like that sided with her, she was like, yeah, you know what? Fuck that guy. And she turns on me. So on a given day, I'm getting about 12 likes, and 5 I hate yous.
Yeah, but that's pretty good.
I'm
You're
liking
still
the
up
numbers.
7. You're
The
up 7.
ratio still plays in my
Yeah,
favor.
you're up 7.
And that's what allows me to just swallow this. Because every day, like, I could just
that a
delete
pun?
these. And I'm like, no, not now. Keep that plastic in your baby's mouth. What am I getting at here? The mob is one. Even when I tried to have a very healthy exchange, it turns into this monstrosity where the level of anger and retardation that fuels the internet, you really can't. We have to create the healthy brainstorming environment and then broadcast it to you folks. And then live, we can bring you guys in and you can have a part of the dialogue. But like, if we just dive into the internet, there's no healthy engagement.
Yeah, the only winner is the internet.
Reddit.
Yeah.
Reddit's like, this is the show.
Yeah. Welcome.
Welcome. So give me some of your rapid thoughts on this new Disney cult that's taken the world by storm.
My lasting thought is I don't see the Disney cult slowing down. I think it's constant. Like, that's the problem, right? So like, I look at these individuals and it's like, she used the word at the start of her TikTok and it said, this is a hobby. It's like, this isn't the hobby you had before the miscarriage was going to Disney. Now your hobby is going to Disney with the silicone doll. I do, like, you get what I mean? Like, I have hobbies. I don't, what? You know, like.
And you know what's crazy is it kind of speaks for itself. So you start asking, like, why do I have to explain this to people?
And again, some hobbies are therapeutic, but your hobby before the kid, your hobby, I saw you, your hobby before the kid was a lot of Disney trips a year. Okay. The doll's just now a new addition to the hobby.
I have a friend now.
You know, and it, again,
I bought her for $69.99.
And again, it's like, then there's a part of me where I'm like, I haven't been in that situation. I don't know. But then I'm looking at them and be like, you're Disney going people. Like, you.
Hold up. Can we agree that the development of hyper-realistic baby dolls is probably a human invention of the last half century at best?
I would say, yeah.
But I'm sure there were some crafty folks back in the day. We'll give them a century.
Sure.
Do you know how many miscarriages were probably over the course of the last 4,000 years?
Enough.
They didn't have Disney or hyper-realistic baby dolls, and yet they still populated the earth.
Okay.
So you can rise above it. The question is, are we going to make you, or are we going to let you settle at the bottom like flounder waste?
But that's the thing. It's like, yes, we rose above it, but now we're asking people who believe that Goofy is Goofy.
Doug, you got to do me a favor. As he's finishing his point, go by the coffee machine and grab me the quote that the judge gave me.
You know,
Go ahead.
But it's one of those things where it's like, yes, people are built a little differently now. They're a little softer mentally. And it's like, I'm looking at this individual and her husband, and I'm thinking in my head, I was like, how many times do they go on vacation to other places that aren't Disney?
None.
You know,
You nailed another thing. The folks that do Disney only do Disney. That's their world culture. I've been to Epcot. That's got 10 places in one park. I'm as cultured as it gets.
You know, and that's
around
like
the world.
And then when you bring up like your parents' story, but in your parents' story, like there's like a heart to that story. There's like a growth of like years and decades building up to that moment at one point and then at another point. And for them, it's like they're there with the silicone doll booking their next trip to Disney, which is probably 2 months away. You know, so it's like
and my mom's like, and yet my organic doll graduated from pharmacy school.
You know, and it's like and then it gets to a point where it's like, are they going to try again?
Nope.
You know,
boom. That inquiry is the whole turning point to this entire dialogue.
You know,
this is a problem because you don't ever get back on the horse because of the experts. The experts, psychological experts will say it bars you from getting back on the horse.
Like, I know if I was married at some point, I would look at my spouse and be like, this isn't enough. Like, this isn't healthy.
Right.
This isn't healthy for our marriage. Like, I viewed at that point and be like, I look at this thing like it's just in the way. and it's a doll, and I have to respect your feelings as like this is like helping you, but it's been 6 months.
See, here's our
This is now
problem.
our third trip to
And
Disney.
again, it was on the screen. It was there. No one needs to say it. I'm gonna say it. This is a reality of human sex market, the market of the sexual marketplace, whatever. Like, this is how life works. The reality is you and I aren't in that position because exactly, we don't even walk in the door, let alone have a chance to walk out. The guy's blind and had a stroke. Like, he's just happy to be on a small world after all with a real arm. He's just like, all I know this thing's real. She needs to carry around a toy. I can't even see it. Okay. But come on, I'm being as real as I can get.
I know.
That's like, I'm not trying to be cruel.
No, you're not.
This is
you're being very honest, and you're being very spot on, but it's just, I'm just thinking about the couple I saw, and I just like, there's like this image in my mind, like I can't go to Disney before I have kids.
Dude,
like,
what's
no way I
crazy
can go to
is
Disney
you even just like did my parents the favor of romanticizing that moment. You do recognize, I made a comment trying to say I would try to recreate such a scenario. We couldn't recreate that in our life if we tried.
No.
If you walked into a Disney park today, it looks nothing like a 2002 Disney park.
because the novelty of Disney has become so corporized over the years.
Dude,
that
Lily Tino is walking around with 2 cake pops and 2 buried cake pops going, someone tell me I can't use the bathroom. Tell me I can't use the bathroom. This is me filming in a woman's bathroom. I'm a woman. Come
probably
on.
blows it
I'm going to
up.
go out on a limb and say Disney's a little different today. It hits different.
I can't. The empathy, the minor empathy I have, I'm projecting it very well for this episode. Because
So-
I just can't.
As quoted, given to me as a gift, you've all heard it, you've all seen it, but recited perfectly. Hard times make strong men make good times make weak men make hard times. That's where we're at in the cycle, the hard times. And then it's going to craft us some
And
hard
here's
men
the
again.
thing, you're saying it's like the hard times, but for them, it's like it's
Cushy.
it's the happiest world ever.
Well, no, sorry, you're right. We're kind of at the good times make weak men. We're in the process of making weak men, which will then bring a rise to the conflict that will require weak men. So those weak men will break these. The hard times is right around the corner. We got 2 more topics to still hit. They're here.
I think we're in it. I just think it's more like we're being very kind to the weak people.
Wow,
like,
are
you know
we?
what I mean? Like if the camera literally wasn't on me, and
It'd be
like, we were
totally
just-
different.
I'd be cooking these people. You couldn't take me to a Disney World right now. Like I wouldn't be. If I saw that, the face I would make. I wouldn't say a word. Just the face I would make. She'd put the camera on me, and the face would still stay the same. I'd be like,
It'd be the Sydney Sweeney.
dude, it'd be like the kid from Freaks and Geeks looking over like it'd be so like I'd be like, I paid $300 to be in the same vicinity as whatever the hell's going on right here, and I need to
I have to share a dancing cup with this thing.
Literally, yeah.
It's a small world. You're in my
And
row.
then they're all singing, and it's all happy, and Goofy's around the corner, and it's just some stoned out kid, and they're all like, "Oh my God, you're my favorite," and I'm like, "Wow, wow, that person has their own health insurance that I'm paying for."
At the end of the day, I genuinely feel for anyone who's walked through the pain of losing a child. That grief doesn't just hurt, it rewires you. But having empathy doesn't mean pretending everything that feels comforting is actually helpful. Sometimes the hardest truths are the ones that save us. Because while these hyper-realistic dolls might bring temporary relief, the long run is a different story. Psychology is pretty clear on this. When you replace the real world with a fantasy substitute, you're not healing. You're rehearsing the trauma over and over again. And the rest of us are cheering it on like it's cute or empowering. That's not compassion, that's enabling. There's nothing therapeutic about getting stuck in a loop where the pain never gets processed, only reperformed, and turning that loop into content. that's where it starts getting cruel. So yes, let's have empathy. Let's support people who are giving. But support doesn't mean telling them what they want to hear. It means helping them climb out of the hole, not decorating the inside of it. If we really care about people in pain, then we have to stop normalizing and stop platforming behaviors that keep them there. Not all comfort is healing, and not all therapy is therapy. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do is stop enabling the cancer and start encouraging the cure. Let me tell you, this next one is a doozy. You know what? Before we even get into the introduction, let's just introduce the last ever minted penny.
Of course, he's holding it.
Right? That's what I mean. That's what triggered this topic right away.
Of course
Like
he's holding it.
he's flashing it off. Look at, I got the last penny.
This isn't just a normal penny. This is the penny.
Damn you. It's the penny.
Look
Make
at that
note.
guy's face.
Okay. All right. Let's get into today's topic, which is a bit of a doozy. I've got some thoughts.
Yay.
The last penny has been minted. We are officially living in the future. Flying cars? Still nope. Jetpacks? Barely. But the last US penny ever? Yeah, that's just happened. Somewhere out there, the final little copper-colored disc rolled off the mint's conveyor belt, and the big existential question now is, who gets it? Because officially, the Treasury wants us to believe this thing will be released into natural circulation. You know, tossed into the wild like a tiny metal Pokemon. They say it'll go through all the usual channels: boxed, crated, shipped, banked, unbanked, counted, miscounted, dumped in a Coinstar, handed out for change, and eventually land in the track of someone's car seat next to a straw wrapper and 3 fossilized French fries. But let's be honest, everyone in that chain knows exactly what they're holding. The golden ticket. The Fed knows, the armored truck guy knows, the bank cashiers know, the coin facility technicians know, the supervisor who signs off of the shipment definitely knows. And we're supposed to pretend nobody along the way will pocket the last penny ever minted? Really? The same government that loses track of submarines, laptops, Egyptian planes, entire budgets, and criminal client lists is telling us, don't worry, the penny will be randomly distributed. Sure, and I'm the last winning Powerball ticket. Look, I'm not saying there's a conspiracy. I'm saying there's a human being somewhere along that assembly line who realizes this penny is worth more than their next 5 paychecks on eBay. And human beings tend to do human being things. So unless every person who touches that coin has the moral restraint of a monk, the last penny is not ending up in a gas station cash drawer in Wichita. Now, why does this matter? Beyond the sentimental value, the bigger conversation is what this symbolizes. Because some are saying this kind of feels like the government's subtle way of sliding us a note under the table that says, hey guys, we're broke. Like the penny isn't just a coin, it's a farewell letter from an economy running on hopes, prayers, and whatever's left in the national sofa cushions. But okay, let's be fair. Are there any legitimate arguments for keeping the penny? There are a few, technically. Some economists claim rounding prices could cause inflation. Some folks argue eliminating the penny hurts charities who rely on spare change. And we can't forget the lobbyists, because the zinc lobby fights for the penny harder than most politicians fight for their constituents. But none of that changes the reality. The penny costs almost 3 cents to make. That's like spending $3 to print a coupon for 1. At some point, you just have to admit the math is damaging you. So here we are. The last penny ever, a national relic, a collector's dream, a tiny copper tombstone marking the grave of American fiscal responsibility. Whoever ends up with it, whether they got it fair and square or slipped it in their sock on the mint floor, congratulations. You are holding a piece of history and a golden payday. And for the rest of us, the era of pointless jingling is finally over. Unless, of course, they replace it with a digital penny usher in Bitcoin, which would be the most government thing to do, of course. So I ask the room, do you think keeping the penny ever made sense, or was this just long overdue and we've all been in denial for the last 30 years?
I mean, I've been in denial for 31 years, so yeah, I'm gonna go with that. I think it's been a denial thing for 30 years. It's just like I don't know. God, I already feel nostalgic for the penny. It's like Pluto is a planet. Like I miss it. I just need it back.
I didn't want it until it was gone, but now I miss it.
Damn it, I need it back.
Yeah, bring me
it at the bottom of my cup holder. I guess the thing too, and it's like for a long time we've known that it's like it costs money to actually just make the penny. Like you're actually losing money just making the penny. So like I guess like logistically it would make sense at some point to stop. But then there's a part of me that going like, who cares? It's just a penny.
Doug shot up the second you said that.
Well, because
Doug's here, everybody.
Hey.
so I like two things. One, I like the point that you said. It's like, oh well, rounding up, that's what they're gonna have to do for cash transactions. So they're saying like the prices should stay the same if you use cards, but now we're getting to the point where credit cards are now always having the fee on it. So,
Amazon's like, we're still charging you $5.99.
But my thing is the government's worried that getting rid of the penny could cause inflation, then require everyone to round down. Just have everyone round down, and then everyone gets cheaper.
That would be instinct. If your buddies weren't Trump buddies, where we round up in this biz, we round up here, Daddy.
I was gonna say, Doug, have you ever asked someone their age and they'd round down? Yeah, that's the only time they do that.
But then the other reason too, like the only other, so the dime or was it the nickel also costs more to make than what it's worth. But like part of the reason you have to think maybe the penny costs more is because it does have copper, not as much as it used to have, but it does have copper. So what about covering it like the other coins we have?
But again, it's full of zinc. It's already a covered coin.
I wonder if the stock of copper is going to go up after this.
Well, is it like that?
I don't think so.
Like
I don't think the disappearance of the penny is causing the stock of
it's not. So it would just be the value of copper, right? Yeah. So I
like supply and demand.
Right. I don't know if it would harm it because there should be more copper of it, or I guess the same amount is available for access.
Right.
Yeah, that is a curious consideration, but at the same time, it's illegal to deface, American currency. At the same time, once it's smelted in a giant ball of zinc copper, what you gonna do?
And that's the thing. It's like shit. Not Doug. Before you get to your point, I just know like American currency, like you can't track it. Like you can't track dollar bills or pennies. So like going to your point, it's like someone knows where this penny is. Like there's no way. You get what I mean? Like just a regular dollar out in circulation, you have no idea where that dollar is, other than it's just out there. But it's like the last penny. Yeah, I know what that is, and it's worth. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it's well worth more than 5 paychecks on eBay.
That is worth a ton of money.
I'm going to say that's gonna be that one penny.
It'll become the most expensive penny.
The instant that penny's sold, they're gonna put pennies back in circulation because they're gonna be like, "Oh, we made our money back."
Well, don't forget, it won't be the government that profits from this.
No.
It'll be private sale to a collector, and collectors in this coin biz get so crazy. You could see this getting
I remember
hundreds of thousands. Dude, a baseball card's $1 million. This is $1 million coin.
Dude, I remember you used to collect them. Remember like the quarters, they'd have the states, right? You could you'd have like a giant like picture of the United States and you'd fill in the quarters. And it's like they didn't do that with the pennies, obviously, but you could find like different kinds of pennies. And it's like, oh yeah, collectors.
Dude, if you go to a flea market and there's a coin guy, he takes his hobby serious.
Oh, yeah,
as serious as a Disney adult takes her baby doll to Disney. They take these hobbies serious. But
wait,
this
what was
guy's
the word you used for that?
Serious.
No, the one before that. Hobby? Is that what those are called? Hobbies?
Yeah, I guess I did that to him. But if you were to catch one of these folks hawking pennies or coins at a flea market, bro is sitting across from a lady selling knitted rugs. And he's like, that's a $20,000 coin. Dude, who do you think rolled up to this farm in the middle of Ohio with $20,000 cash? Yeah, I don't take Venmo.
I need you to bring in a briefcase of cash for this penny.
They think it's so unrealistic. And the last penny, you bet your and then here's this cat. He's just like, look what I got. I got the thing,
Dude.
and then I'm gonna put it in the conveyor belt,
Dude,
not
you
my
wanna know what? I'm
pocket.
so glad.
Dude, do you know I'm walking in with probably 50 pennies in my pocket, and I'm just walking, shling, shling, shling. What are you doing over there, Mr. Johnson? Nothing. Just gonna show off the first penny and just like switch it. Just switch it with another. Do you know how many 2025 pennies you could probably find right now?
Do you Ooh, gotcha. It's like, it's like, you want to know what I'm really, really glad they didn't do for the last penny? I'm really glad they didn't do it. I'm so glad they didn't put like Trump on the penny.
Dude, you understand that would break the country.
I that's what I mean.
And I would join them. I'd be like, yeah, we're burning it, right?
Yeah, this
That's what we're
screw
doing
the
now?
Files. What is this penny? doing out there?
The second you start distributing a Caesar coin, you end the same way too,
Yeah,
Ibrute.
so I will say, out of this entire rollout of the last penny, I am impressed it didn't go that way, because that was the first thought that came in my mind. I was like, please don't do that. Please, God, don't do that.
So is anyone buying the idea that this thing is actually going into random circulation, or are we all on the same page that somebody already slid it into their lunchbox?
Dude, I buy this as much as the people that stole from the Louvre were just random civilians. No.
All right. Well, then I also got to ask, and Doug, I want to hear your thoughts on this one. Should we get rid of the nickel next, or is that where we draw the line before society collapses?
I just think that's a matter of time. Before Doug goes, like, I just think that's a matter of time.
So are you going to say it's a matter of time before all money goes? Because that's my fear.
That
That is eventually it.
That's an inevitability. I don't think it'll happen.
We
really.
got to drag our feet on that as long as possible.
Here's the funny thing is, I don't think it's going to happen in our lifetime. Like, I don't.
Boy, I hope. And I hope we ingrain it in our kids, not let it be in theirs either.
Oh my God, I'm at the point now when this happened, I'm saving my pennies. Like I am. I'm just like, I'm not
spending another penny again.
I'm not paying an exact change ever. You ruined that for me.
In fact, I'm just going to keep giving them nickels. Like, oh shit, give me 4 pennies, bitch.
Yeah, exactly. Like now I am a collector.
Yeah, I am a collector. I'm waiting for that to come across.
I want the dirtiest penny you got too. I don't even want a shiny one. I want the dirty sons of bitches. Like, but that's like the thing. So it's like, do I think it's inevitability? Yeah. And the reason is, it's like Doug said, it's now going to start costing more, and it probably already does, to make a nickel than to actually what the nickel's worth. At that point,
Maybe we should be bound by the gold standard. Maybe this is a problem, Fed. Question.
Okay.
If the government admitted the penny was too expensive to produce, what other national traditions are we clinging to that make zero financial sense? We got to imagine a lot, right?
It's financial sense. Mine didn't make sense. I was going to say the Yankees as the best baseball team ever. That's a good question. Let me ponder on that.
I'm sure there's a lot. I mean, the problem is we're going to have to be frustratedly experiencing it before we.
Well, the problem is this country as a whole is in so much debt. You get what I mean? And it's like, we're in so much.
Hey, dude, we just made a commitment tonight, live before the show, maybe an hour ago. $1 trillion being committed to us by the Saudi government.
Cool.
So now they own our entertainment, our sports, and us. Dope. Where's my hat?
Yeah, I want a piece of it.
This bitch better be as warm as over there. You guys have the money, make it happen. If I'm going to be a desert person, I want Ohio feeling like a desert.
Football stadium, they have a dome, damn it.
Doug Dimmadome.
Oh my God, please bring over his Saudi Doug Dimmadome. Buy it from Jimmy. Buy the team from Jimmy, please.
So I can imagine there's probably more traditions that we hold on to that are just crippling us, but we're going to have to discover them before we do anything
Well, it's an
with
interesting question when you pose it as just financial. Like, I couldn't even give you a straight answer on that. Like, I just started thinking of like just traditions in this country in general that have already gone to the wayside and are already out
a major
the door.
one would be, I don't know, printing money every time we get into a financial sticky wicket. It's just like, print more.
And that's the thing.
It's like, but then my loaf of bread just costs $3 more. Like, yeah, I don't think about it.
It's like, we're in such debt. We're in so much, this country's in so much debt. And it's like, we're in debt to the point the dollar isn't as strong as it used to be.
And there's like zinc conglomerates that are like, son of.
And meanwhile, there's some guy in a farm in the middle of Ohio with a $20,000 penny.
Yeah, I'm not buying that.
No, absolutely not.
Nope.
Dude, can you imagine going to that flea market before we continue? Let's just have like a funny conversation here. Imagine going to that flea market next to the rugs and the kilts and whatever the hell else they're selling, probably next to like home produce or whatever. And this guy is like a $20,000 penny. $20,000 penny. That's what he's selling you on. I know you enough to where if you and I were in that situation, he's talking to you and I, and of course he's talking to you because they're always talking to you. And I'm just sitting over there with the RBF because I'm just like, I can't believe the words coming out of his mouth. And I kind of look like I want to get the hell out of there, but I'm also interested to see where you're going to take this. And you're going to look at him and be like, I have $5 that goes with you.
No, I'd be like, oh, dude, start wrapping it up. Here, I got you.
You know what I mean?
And just see how long I could pick through my pockets before he's like, what the fuck?
Before he bring out a nickel.
No, wrap it up.
Before he bring out a nickel and ask for 5 of them.
Whoa, dude! You think I'm paying $20,000? And you're not going to wrap it? Start wrapping it for me.
And, oh my god! And it's a beautiful idea that this country is giving its people. When you brought up that example, I just started thinking of you and I in that situation, and me just watching you go through the charade.
I got $5.
I'm just entertaining the man. Just entertaining the man, thinking he's got you.
He's like, oh my god, I've got rent for the next 4 months.
I'm sold. And then you just pull out like a nickel and you're like, I'll take 5 of those. You know, like that would be freaking awesome. That's why when I go places with him, I stay around for the conversation as long as I can because he will keep it going and I'll be like the redheaded stepchild. Like I want to get the hell out of here already. But that's what makes it work. Because I know that would happen.
Yeah,
you wouldn't help yourself. You would be like, yeah, that's not $20,000.
Dude,
that's worth about.
That's why I mean, like, there are too many human hands this passes through before it actually hits a cash register.
For him to say it's $20,000, and when you put it home, put it in like olive oil and baking soda just to like clean it and make it shiny. It's like it's not like again, like your perfect example was like baseball cards. It's like, yeah, like there's a literal thing on it to say like this is a limited edition kind of card or something like that. Just not even just cards, but like memorabilia of that nature, where it's like, oh, you could actually value it. It's like it's a penny. It costs more to make that.
Well, but it's
penny.
This 1 penny is different than pennies,
and that I get.
But and that's what makes this collection, you know, a hunt for people, is that, you know, misprints are so expensive because back to the whole dialogue here, this is supposed to go through 10 different entities before it ends up in circulation, and to be minted, they're checked. So like these are of high value because very, very few get through all these different, you know,
I'm sure
checkpoints.
There's like a weight to it too, more where
there's a weight there, and again, dude, they're going under microscopes and they're viewing these things. So the guy that's selling a $20,000 penny is because, well, it's 20,000 because there's 2 Abraham Lincolns sitting in the, you know, whatever, the Lincoln Memorial. Okay, so that is like a one of one type deal, similar to that memorabilia. It's those are the guys that are dressing up as Captain Hook. They don't like sports. So like Captain Hook's like, I don't like sports, but I'll collect pennies.
You know, it's like, I just think it's like there's like these card scalpers now that go to Target with like their weights. Like they'll take like a little weight and like put the packs on them. And whichever one weighs like more is like, oh, there's a good card in there.
That's wild.
And stuff, you know, like it's like, but again, the idea of like in the middle of Midwest America or something like that. So it's like, how would you know? How would you and I know that this is a penny of?
Oh, we would spend
unless it was like those quarters, like I said, like those state quarters. It'd be like, I remember those.
80% of America, if this ends in their you know, car cup holder, it's the same as any other penny.
That would have spilled coffee and like everything on it. Next to the fossilized fries, that one hit right here.
That's right.
I felt that one.
So at the end of the day, the last penny isn't really about copper or currency or even nostalgia. It's a quiet little symbol of a country that's finally admitting something that's been hiding behind the couch for years. The math just doesn't work anymore. And sure, somewhere out there, that final coin is supposedly fluttering its way into the great randomness of American circulation. But let's be honest, whether it lands in a cashier's drawer, a collector's safe, or mysteriously disappears into some bureaucrat's don't worry about it pile, the penny's farewell tour tells us something bigger. We're entering an era where old systems are slipping away, not because we choose to evolve, but because they became too expensive to pretend they still made sense. And while the sentiment and of part of me wants to shed a tear for Lincoln's little copper portrait, the particular part of me knows this is long overdue. So as we wrap this up, remember, letting go of the penny isn't the tragedy pretending we needed it this long was. If we're going to move forward as a country, we need to stop clinging to relics and start demanding clarity, transparency, and a future that actually adds up. Because if this tiny coin can finally be retired, maybe, just maybe, it's a sign that America is ready to stop enabling broken systems, or at least stop paying manufacturing costs to keep the illusion going. And now it's time for our last topic of the day, arguably the biggest topic.
Brad Richardson.
Yeah, what?
Wrap that thing.
Cheers, Brad. We're glad to have you. We were missing you. All right. Now we're talking OnlyFans, H-1B visas, and the decline of the American workforce. Let's talk about the shocking state of the American economy today. The most profitable company in the country isn't a tech giant, a defense contractor, or even a financial powerhouse. It's OnlyFans. That's right. A platform where people sell virtual intimacy has now surpassed most traditional business in revenue per employee, and it's become a backbone of the modern economy. Think about that. We've gone from Ford, General Electric, IBM, and Microsoft, companies that built infrastructure, made products, and drove global innovation, to a world where subscription-based fantasy interactions are considered a top-tier business. And now enter President Trump, the man who famously said in 2015, when Mexico sends its people, they're not sending their best. They're bringing lots of problems, drug, crime. Yet today, he's pushing for the maximum distribution of H-1B visas, outwardly exclaiming that in the jobs that matter, we have no talent. Corporate universities are floundering, American students are fleeing high-cost degrees that don't pay, and young generations are moving back into the trades and other practical fields because that's where the money is. So the administration solution? Bring in foreign students to fill the gap. On one level, it props up a failing corporate university and keeps their lobbies happy. But it does nothing to fix the underlying collapse of domestic workforce's value. Now let's circle back to OnlyFans. Think about the social implications of the economy we're building. Millions of Americans, mostly men, are spending thousands of dollars for artificial intimacy. On the flip side, content creators, mostly women, are reporting that they feel emotionally deadened, that they've lost their natural attraction to men and lack human connection. Sexual activity is declining rapidly, too. In 1990, 55% of adults reportedly were having sex weekly, and today it's 37%. That's not just a statistic, it's a reflection of deep social and emotional isolation, which research shows is deadlier than smoking 15 cigarettes a day, worse than obesity, worse than alcohol abuse, worse than air pollution. This is a society starving for connection while monetizing the emptiness. Meanwhile, the H-1B strategy risks flooding American universities and high-skilled jobs with imported labor while devaluing domestic talent. We're effectively creating an economy that treats Americans as expendable, outsourcing opportunity while the social fabric frays. Couple that with a shift from historically productive industries, steel, manufacturing, tech, to entertainment of the digital fetish, and you start to see the problem. We're measuring productivity in attention, desire, and clicks, not innovation or infrastructure. To summarize, America's workforce is shrinking in value. Universities are failing to educate people for a meaningful, high-paying work, and the economy is pivoting to catering to human loneliness. We have fewer skilled workers, less intimacy, and more virtual dependency. The societal consequences are profound. Mental health crises, weakening families, and a workforce increasingly reliant on imported talent and digital platforms to sustain profits. If that's the future of the American economy, it's no wonder we're on the downtick. So let's just, you have to see this graph. It's going to break you. This is what we're dealing with. When we discuss most profitable businesses in America, here, I'm kind of in the way. Let me, boom. OnlyFans is possibly the most, look at this. NVIDIA, the people that makes all the computer chips for the world. Cursor, who's literally the competitor to NVIDIA. Apple, Meta, Alphabet, which is Google and team. OpenAI. These are the highest, like, banking stocks in America.
I literally use all those products except the top one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, how crazy is that? It's crazy that we're about to have a conversation and at least 60%, 66% of this room doesn't. Doug?
I have never used
I don't believe you. We know that's the side you're going to take. We're saying we don't believe you.
Doug, I believe you. You don't even use TikTok. I'll give that.
I'll give him that.
I'll give him that.
And I will say, it's funny you bring up TikTok because TikTok is a pipeline straight to OnlyFans.
That's what I mean. Doug, I think you're good.
Yeah,
I'm on your side, Doug.
I love it. Well, Brad Richardson isn't. BS.
Okay. Doug, just remember, I was on your side.
And Doug will not be on your side. That's how this works. You come to his bat, he leaves you high and dry.
I didn't know TikTok apparently leads you to OnlyFans. So
it's all these girls dancing half naked, and they're like, literally, it started. TikTok was follow this link to my OnlyFans, and you would just click it and go there. Now that's illegal, so they just go, yeah, I have one. Go to my Instagram, and you go to their Instagram, and it takes you there. You're like, this is a pipeline on an app for 15-year-olds.
You know, do you think a decade ago this is what Donald Trump meant when he said "Make America Great Again"?
What he said was, "Make America Great Again." What we heard, "Make America Great Again." What he was internally expressing, put more money in my pocket.
You want to know what I think he actually meant? This is a secret meaning. It was not "Make America Great Again." It was "Make America Goon Again."
That's a good one.
I got jokes.
That's a good one.
I got jokes. Thank you.
I'm not taking it away. That's
that
a good one.
That should be a shirt.
It is
that
now.
Should be a shirt. I can sell it on TikTok.
It would make bank.
It would hit. It would hit different. It is funny though when like you bring up like again like I'm making light of the joke, but at the same time it's like you mentioned like Ford, IBM, industrial steel, and it's like those aren't like on this list. You know, you get what I mean? It's like now it's like, oh, we're bringing back the H-1B visas, the high priority H-1B visas. I guess that's like how he's trying to sell it. But
well, no, maximum H-1B visas. It's like, dude, we were all for like, hey, we're gonna make this 3 times the cost to expedite it. We're like, okay, money, man, I see where it is. Now he's like, I'm now the Oprah of H-1Bs. You get a visa. You get a visa. Everybody gets a visa. Max out the visas.
And you know, he probably got on there. He was like, they're not just any H-1B visas. They are the best H-1B visas to offer.
Exactly. So what this is a extensive problem. It's got depth, multiple angles to it. What better political scientist to break this down than the...
Is it Cardi B?
No.
Okay.
No. This is a real political scientist.
Okay.
This is a real political scientist.
Sure this is a bit.
No, this is for real. Anyway, the expert, Tim Dillon.
But this was the promise of the global system. The idea that we had to take in people, and Trump's even saying that we have to do from China, the H-1B visas. They got to come in. We got to have people come in from India because we don't have those skills in America. Well, whose idea was it to not build those skills in America? Whose idea was it to bring people in from China and India that can do the tech jobs that we're not training Americans to do? I had an argument with my aunt this summer about immigration. And I said, well, legal immigration also is something that should be regulated and maybe curtailed. And she goes, well, who's going to be your doctor? She goes, my doctor's from Pakistan. Are we importing all of our doctors from Pakistan? Does that make any sense to anyone that in the United States of America, we somehow are not creating doctors? We're not training people that grew up here to be doctors, and we're bringing people in from Pakistan to be. Isn't Pakistan a dysfunctional society, to be quite honest? Is the idea that the United States of America, that every one of our children wants to flick their bean on OnlyFans? And instead of becoming a doctor, and that we have to bring in doctors from Pakistan, a country that we suspected that was harboring the fugitives from 9/11? Does that make any sense to anybody? It does to Jennifer Welch. It does to a lot of these wine mom drunk white liberals that think it's so great. They love, as brilliant Rachel Feinstein, the comedian, says, her mother likes pronouncing the names in the back of a taxi. But does this make any sense to anybody? And my aunt says this sitting on my couch. She has children. Some of them are doing great. Others are getting by. They're doing fine. They're not bad people. But they're not killing it. They're not crushing it. And she's excited about bringing in doctors from Pakistan. That's what boomers would rather do. Boomers would rather bring in doctors from Pakistan while their own children die on the street. That is generally what they would rather do. To prove the point that they are good people, they would rather bring in doctors from war-torn third world countries than try to figure out how to get people in the United States of America to be doctors. It's the craziest thing I've ever heard. This is the craziest way to run a society.
Yep, and that's boomer economy at its finest.
Hey.
That's logic.
They're probably a huge driving force for OnlyFans also.
Dude, it is creepy how, we've had this conversation on here in the past where you go back to college now, I go back as an alum, and you're like, yeah, that's a 20-year-old, but that's a child.
Yeah,
and
the frontal lobe.
Well, not even that. I look at them and physically they look underdeveloped compared to my age. I'm in my 30s. That's how the dynamic goes. However, if I were to look at the boomer class as a class, they are a generation that has struggled the most at going 10 years is too young. That's too young for me. It's the statement, college girls, what's great about them is I keep getting older, but they stay the same age. That is the definition of boomer mentality. And so, don't underplay how much of you were bringing up Ari Krista is her name, or Kista.
She's all over TikTok. She's
isn't she
she's
still
one of those huge pipeline ones.
Isn't she still dating Young Gravy?
Young Gravy.
So
that's how I know her.
There is a large number of people that are following her. Sure, good numbers 15, large numbers 45. So,
dude, do you realize that the level of wealth disparity that the boomers have compared to our generation?
Oh, it's diabolical.
That's gonna be a huge thing for
it's diabolical.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna go, because you want to morally grandstand, but aren't we good people? We're bringing in doctors from Pakistan. But aren't you retarded? As a generation, you couldn't make doctors of your own. But I'm bringing in Pakistani doctors. Your kid is still in debt to the university, but I'm bringing in Pakistani doctors. It's you guys are the reason we're collapsing. Brad Richardson, college kids look way more immature since our time of college-aged people last 20 years. The maturity level has decreased significantly. I think, yes.
Yeah.
Maturity is decreasing, just mental acuity, but also it was weird getting to a point where you don't feel like you're aging. until you start seeing young people are like, yeah, I don't look like that anymore.
Yeah, it was like 27, 28 for me.
Yep.
I really like.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's right. When you start turning the corner.
Yeah.
And right around 29, it was like, yeah, 22-year-olds aren't, 22 is probably as close as it gets. A 20-year-old, that looks like a kid. They still look 18.
I feel like a boomer's cutoff date for like these kids now is like 9/11. Like you were born before or after. Like they're like, yeah, you know, give or take a few months, I guess.
Yeah, I hope that it depends on what that disparity is. You know, there's still 65. I don't care that the kid's 30. You're gross.
Ask Leo.
What do you mean?
DiCaprio.
Exactly.
You know?
And yet imagine being that rich and that famous and got a low key hide because society's got opinions about you.
And yeah, we got opinions about him, and he just goes and he says, "Protect the ozone."
Don't look up. Don't look up. All right. If OnlyFans is now more profitable than traditional companies, what does that say about the values of our society and the economy we're building? Are we rewarding productivity or just monetizing loneliness?
Both.
Yeah. Well,
actually, no.
I think we're failing to reward.
We're failing
productivity. We're only focusing on monetizing. It's monetizing loneliness. It's monetizing anger, monetizing hate, whatever gets the clicks, monetize.
Let me pose a question to you.
But hold on real quick. But also it's fictional. It's clicks. Before, when we were monetizing, I was literally monetizing gears for naval planes. Now it's, well,
I just need
a couple double click on my Instagram.
Yeah.
That's my money.
Yeah. Actually go to this link on my other social media too. So
Yeah.
it's just more traffic for it, you know.
Well, again, it's traffic in a digital realm that isn't real.
Yeah.
Like I'm
in
making
itself is
Matrix
currency.
products and I'm still in the real world.
Yeah. It's like that in itself. It's just like its own currency that like you don't necessarily see, but it's
Like
there.
even comparing back to this graph, NVIDIA
That is
at
such
least
a
is
crazy.
insane,
insane.
absurd. NVIDIA is at least making real chips.
Oh yeah.
They
no.
are providing chips to the world.
Literally every other company up there except the top one is providing like real world like service for like productivity. And if you were to add all of them up, it doesn't even hit halfway of the
So
top
I'd
line.
be curious. This is a good, interesting point. Before the internet, Playboy and strip clubs were the only fans, and it's always been about the story behind the centerfolds. And now OnlyFans has that for them to, now it's instead of paying
is
Hugh.
Playboy still a thing?
It is. It's still a magazine. It's kind of lost its bite after Hugh Hefner passed, but why would you when you could go to Reddit for free? So a 14 to 24-year-old is not. But I'm sure there's still nostalgia in like a 45-year-old that just has their collection. I'm sure like Mad Magazine, they also do subscriptions, and I'd love to see what those people look like. But it's an interesting point, Brad Richardson, as like comparing it to strip clubs and even more specifically Playboy. Playboy made bank at its peak. However, the internet is able to like one individual human is making $500,000 a month. Before, all of that had to go to a corporate conglomerate and was filtered through Hugh Hefner at the top. Now, this is, you don't have to pay an agent. You don't have to pay a secretary. It's you. You dance in front of that camera, and then you take the cash. So I think it is the same type of appetite, the same type of market that's being exploited, but it's being exploited at such a greater rate because of the hyper connectivity of the internet.
Dude, you're being exposed even if you're not doing anything.
What do you mean?
Like even if you're just hanging out at your apartment, say you're an individual who does it, like that's your profession, let's just say, you don't even you could go an entire day without posting anything and you're getting the clicks. You're getting everything. You know what I mean? Like there's no
that's why they love it. They kind of
it's
it's a very loosey-goosey. I mean, literally you've turned me into a loosey-goosey, but now my lifestyle is also loosey-goosey.
And that's the thing. It's like going off Brad Richardson's point. It's like back in the day, it's like strip clubs, Playboy. There was almost like a novelty to it. You know what I mean? It's like now, like the novelty's gone. It's
Right.
the biggest industry in America. Make America goon again. That's a good one.
So Trump says we have no talent, so let's import more. But does bringing in foreign students really fix the underlying problem, or are we just papering over a talent crisis in America?
Can I make a point to that? I think because you are seeing a lot of the younger generation kind of forego college and go back into the trades and stuff like that. I just think this is kind of a part of like a natural cycle to where at some point,
right,
it'll even itself back out. You know, it'll kind of go like in a wave. You see what I'm saying? Because like you're going to have more people get into the trades, be working the steel mills, work in the auto industry, you know, not just like selling cars, but like manufacturing cars, stuff like that. Obviously, like AI, NVIDIA, and all those companies are like going to start booming more. And at some point, I think the fatigue of like the, I guess you would say like the loneliness epidemic is going to equal itself out at some point. I don't know when, I don't know how soon. I just like, that's just kind of a feeling I have because you are seeing that more so, like you said, like majority is like that one influencer. It's like the 15s aren't that high, but like the 45s are. And it's like, those kids are going to grow up and be like, I don't want to get involved in that or like give that my money or time or anything like that.
Right.
Put it more into like other industries. So that's a hope. That's more of like a hope, but like that's what I think it would.
I could see a pendulum type experience, but the way I kind of see this going is this is a convergence. Like that's what makes this ending topic so fun is you've got OnlyFans being the highest profitable company in America now. Whoa. You got Trump over here going, I'm going to maximize H-1B visas. And then underlying it all is a thievery university system that's corporatized. You've got lazy freaking millennials and it's only getting lazier. Social ineptitudes that's being, you know, further bred into our future generations. All this converging in one thing. When I like diagnose what's going on with the universities, they're getting what they deserve and it finally played out. This is something I had hoped for. This is something I predicted and it's finally knocking on their door. They preyed upon juvenile children and trap them into a contract that they cannot escape. It is the only financial commitment in America that you cannot file for bankruptcy and evade. If you don't pay it off, your estate and your kids and whoever it'll follow you beyond the grave. This is the only debt that never goes away. And yet the entire basis of contract law understands that there's like, you know, all these different considerations you need to appease and what makes a contract right off the bat under 18 or older. If you are under 18, void. There is nothing they could put in that contract that could outdo the fact that you're under 18. So there is a legal policy understanding that there is a lack of capacity due to biological development. And you have an entire corporate university mechanism that's just sitting at the starting line, just waiting for you. As soon as you get out of that, as soon as he hits, he's going to hit the gun, and then you're going to go. The second you start this race, and then we get our talons on you and commit you to $200,000, and then you're totally crippled when your gender studies degree doesn't pay off $200,000. Who would have thought? They'll happily give you the product overpriced at a value you could never appreciate and give back to them, but they don't give a shit. They came out ahead. So this eventually came around, right? First, it was, this is the beginning of universities. And how do you entice people? Well, you get the higher educated people that want to rebrand their profession and go back in education. Those people are able to take this degree, go into a market and go, hey guys, I'm worth more. And that's what gave me an edge on getting a job. That person then looks at their kid and goes, you need to go to college. It's going to give you an edge. Well, then everybody started realizing that college gives you an edge. So everybody told every kid, you got to go to college. And then it became this money mill of we're just shepherding everybody into this contract that they'll never be able to escape. And whether they succeed or not, we got our cash. And now we're seeing the outcome of it all, where everybody's struggling to get a job. You went to college, and you know that job you had to make it through college, bartending. Well, now you got a degree. Guess what? Now you get to do that college job with a degree because you're still a freaking bartender. Like, we're all waking up to the, oh my God, they sold us a fool's dream.
What's the idea of like the American dream is gone?
Exactly. Well, and that's its own thing. So,
But again,
as a symptom to all of this, you're going to see, like you had suggested, all the kids are going to go back to the trade. And now you've got a starving market. All these big wigs, someone's profiting from the conglomerate that is Yale, that is Miami University or Mount Union University or Utah University. There's people profiting off of these, even the public schools that are financially benefited by our tax dollars. All of these being a corporate mechanism that are slowly, they're seeing on the horizon the dip, where they're going to start starving. And that's going to weed out a lot of these universities. That whole market's going to close. And so Trump sees, this is how I help my cronies. And I keep these universities alive, but I also appease the world market and keep the value of the American degree high. Yeah. That's only going to be temporal, because then you'll eventually flood the rest of the world market with these meaningless degrees, and it will flip. I don't think it'll be a pendulum. What I'm getting at in this long, like, playing out the timeline, now that we're caught up to this point, I don't think it comes back. I think it will. I hope. Now, this is my hope. My hope in the best case scenario is that you weed out a lot of the over-marketed universities, not the unnecessary ones, and universities, for the sake of self-preservation, instead of being the precursor that you need to enter the work market, it will be the higher education to enhance or enrich you as you've already entered the professional market. So you will be an engineer, but you'll go back to get your master's, right, as you would to be an expert or certification, get another certification of some sort. I think you shouldn't be 18 in a university. You should be 25, 32, having worked at this firm for 6-8 years, and now I'm getting a certification to get a bump. That's what I could forecast the hopeful final resting place for these universities, because in the worst case scenario, the entire thing bottoms out and we're starting anew with self-taught universities that then have to build their credit. And I don't know. It's a weird place. It's that they've paved the way to this point.
Here's the thing. It really feels like we're at like near that tipping point of it being either kind of the way I view it or the way you view it. I really do, because like I agree with a lot of your points. Like I do, like, and I'm not even like opposed to the idea of like being in like your early or mid 20s, having been in the workforce for a bit, deciding like this is something I do want to do. I'd like to get a bump up, getting like a certification in it, to where even the business could even be paying for it in a certain way. I don't know, but it does feel like we're nearing that kind of tipping point in this country, and I definitely think. I just think what Trump's doing right now is just like kind of like a bandage on it, rather than like actually like restructuring what it could be.
I could agree. Remember when the most profitable companies in America were Ford, GE, IBM? How do we go from building infrastructure and innovation to monetizing virtual fantasies?
Oh, that's to me, that's just like quick dopamine hits.
Yeah, and
for me, it's like
and that's the currency right now.
Like,
is every app, platform, anything that's got money behind it, where the advertisers are going, is what's exploiting your natural dopamine mechanism.
Like why put the stress of working through like these actual like jobs that require skill, when you could just be like scrolling and then click onto something, continue scrolling, and then you could think, oh, I can make this kind of content, and then it sucks, but screw it, people are going to click on it. The
last question I have is, you kind of your comment prior to that brought us to this. If the government is propping up failing universities with H-1B visas while domestic talent stagnates, are we prioritizing corporate profit over national prosperity? I think overwhelming, yes.
Yes.
And I think this is where we're seeing it in universities, in the workforce, in the consumers market, but this is everywhere. We have chosen profit over national prosperity in every possible facet.
Yeah, like the idea of nationalism in this country is just like completely being thrown out window. And I understand nationalism kind of could be like a triggering word in a certain way, but it's like the United States is completely turning into like the global market.
Oh, 100%. Brad Richardson wanted you to know that gooning will always succeed over everything else.
I mean, that should have been his slogan 10 years ago. This all would have been full circle. We all would have been like, well, I mean, he said it. He said exactly that.
Instead of Make America Great, GWAS.
Oh, no.
Gooning will always succeed.
Make America goon again. That's a great one. That's a great one. Yes,
take that. Take it to the bank.
Literally, you pull up that chart and it's like you could add every other company below OnlyFans. Yeah, halfway. That's what I mean. It's like we've literally made America goon again.
That whole chart combined still doesn't beat OnlyFans.
It doesn't even come halfway.
Right. That's $37.6 million of revenue per employee.
Okay, I wanted to pose this question to you earlier. And this is the dumb question of the topic. You and I, obviously, we can't do it. Can't do it.
We could try.
So I'm going to do the try one. If we were to try. Would you sell pics of your feet if you could?
Knowing that it's all going to guys? Because that's where it's mostly going.
Yeah, it's out there. It's just your feet. Just your feet. Put a toe ring or something on it. Paint them a little. My feet are disgusting.
And what's funny is my literal comment was going to be, that's so gross. I'd be looking down on these people. And now part of me is like, now I want to do it. Just
give me your money.
Hey, you.
Give me your money.
You.
You know what I mean?
That's what I think of you.
My feet are disgusting.
And the problem is, you'd be like, you're going to throw the hat in the ring, and I'm going to be humbled by the fact that I got gross feet. And then you're like, oh my God, this is a problem.
They're buying it. They're eating it up. Make America goon again.
You know, my Bentley would bring me some smiles.
I'd be crying in my Mercedes. You know what I mean?
My feet are disgusting.
It's like those memes of like Will Ferrell from the Other Guys as Gator, where he's crying and he's wiping his tears with the cash. It's like that'd be it, and it's like, you know. And it'd be easy.
Hey guys, I have to go to work. I have a pedicure with my name on it.
And you just go into your other room of your house with like no furniture in there because you're like, nothing's in the way.
For my job, I have to get pedicures. I know they're talking about me. I don't care. Little do they know that big toe they're filing is worth $50,000.
It's a little Asian woman with a mask on. Prepping the workforce unknowingly.
So do you have any rapping thoughts for us?
No, I think my question was a rapping thought.
Yeah, I agree.
That was a good, cognitive test.
So after all of our discussion, the reality is hard to swallow. America's most profitable company now monetizes loneliness. Our young people are fleeing high-cost universities for trades, and policy is leaning on imported talent instead of fixing the problems at home. We've built a system that rewards virtual intimacy over real-world connection, and the consequences are already showing. Declining intimacy, social isolation, and workforce that's struggling to innovate. Empathy aside, we can't ignore the truth. If we continue down this path, we're not just losing talent, we're losing the very fabric of our society. It's time to ask ourselves, are we cultivating a sustainable economy or just a digital mirror of our worst impulses? So, with all of that, we got to say, this is just too good. The U.S. of gooning.
So spot on.
We're so sad.
Yeah.
Welcome to the future. Anyways, guys, we appreciate you joining us. If we made you laugh, if we made you think, the best thing you can do to support the show, hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell because we're here each week and you don't want to miss us. But again, the whole purpose of the live show is to get you involved. So shout out to Brad Richardson and everybody else that joined us in the comments section because we want to have your perspective, add a little bit more dynamic to our dialogue here, and we greatly appreciate it. But with all our different shows, we have our Sunday football review. Big oof. This Sunday, we're all going to be chugging ices. There's a lot of pain and talking about Shadur Sanders.
It's a group effort over here.
It's going to be
group
rough.
effort.
But we're also going to be starting the morning off with a lot of laughs. Before the football show, we've got our reactions channel. It's a great break from the politics and social chaos. Get a little laughs and have a cup of coffee with us. But if you're looking for one central place where you can find this, our other shows, the podcast, and everything else in one central place, it's at our website at www.rethinktankpodcast.com. See as it goes right there. Follow it. Go there so we can have you, and then you could join the Neuro Gym so you can give topics to us and be a part of the conversation and communicate with us directly. So, with everything being considered, we appreciate you joining us. And do I show it?
Yeah.
That's for this weekend.
Tune in Sunday.
Catch you next week. Peace.